Is this like an audience request?
I am just very curious.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so tardigrades are a very tiny animal. They're also known as a moss piglet or a water bear because
I've heard them water bears, yeah.
because they live on moss. And I think they eat the moss there. But one thing that's really cool about them is that they can enter this state where they basically are dehydrated of water, and they can withstand a lot of extreme temperatures, pressures, and other environmental conditions in this state. And actually, they have been sent up to the International Space Station and exposed to outer space for about 10 days in this state, then brought back to Earth and rehydrated. They actually found some that have survived and then went on to be able to successfully reproduce. So basically, they were totally unaffected.
That's crazy. But
Yeah.
some of them did die.
I believe so. Yes. I don't think all of them survived. So one theory that this supports, then, if a meteorite crashes into some place like Earth and sends chunks of Earth flying off into space, maybe some sort of creatures could enter some sort of animation state where they can survive for long periods of time and survive extreme conditions before falling back on into another type planet, and then basically seeding life there. And that's like a theory known as panspermia.
Cool.
But the asteroid would have to kick up something that has moss on it.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah, the tardigrades are. But they're not technically an extremophile because they don't live in extreme environments.
Oh, yeah.
It's a common misconception. They tolerate extreme conditions in this state, but they prefer and they live in like your backyard.
Yeah.
And they're super cute, so you should definitely go Google them if you aren't familiar
But
with tardigrades.
they're not visible to the naked eye, right?
No, you need a microscope. I think they're about
So crazy.
yeah.
Like a micron.
Where can you find them?
They live on moss, so anywhere where there's
And
moss
forests.
and there's water.
Okay.
I think they've been found mostly
I'm
everywhere.
seeing them right now.
You're not seeing them right now.
I mean, like I'm just Googling them.
Oh, okay.
Right
We
now.
just talked about how they're microscopic, so it's not possible. There's also not moss on Nautilus.
Just ran down to our moss garden. It's right next to the coffee maker.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
They're so cute.
I see a microscopic Pixar movie in the making here with this
Yeah.
tardigrade.
They were actually in the movie Ant-Man, if you were
Oh,
paying close attention.
when he went very
Yeah. They were.
microscopic.
Yeah. In
Oh,
the first one, I think the second one,
They are
might
so
have been,
cute.
I think it was the second one.
because he didn't go that small in the first one.
Yeah.
That sounds like the first reason I have to watch Ant-Man.
It was, yep, they made the big
It's
screen. They're
also
famous
a
now.
really funny movie.
Wait, my
too.
joke wasn't a reason to watch it? Come on.
Well, I mean, your joke wasn't from the movie, right?
No, it
It was
wasn't.
it was really good, but
It is a really good recovery.
Oh, sweet. Making a new one, apparently.
I guess there was one in
I don't know if it's
an
true. I didn't
episode
look
of
for
Family
myself.
Guy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So water bears. Pretty cool creatures.
They're actually studying some of the proteins that they think help them survive such extreme environment conditions. And they think they isolated the protein and then put it with human DNA, and it helped the human DNA be protected from harsher conditions as well. So that's
Well,
kind
that's
of
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
Do we know how long they live? Like, if they're not
Wow.
like into this hibernation state, like, do they die of like old age or natural causes?
I think they do, but I don't have a number on that. They're not one of those creatures that can like live forever, like go back and forth between like two different states.
Aww.
They have 8 legs. They have little tiny claws. Pretty cute.
They'd be pretty scary if they were our size.
Oh yeah.
They're pretty cute.
Did you say they're
Sounds like they would roar also.
but they're not single cell, are they? No.
Oh, what was
No.
that?
No, I don't think so. No.
Because if they have claws, then they have to have multiple cells.
Right, right. And legs, I guess.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, if you think about a single cell organism, it can't be made up of multiple components. So if something has claws, then it has at least 2 different types of tissue in it.
Point taken.
Yeah. I don't know as little about biology as I pretend. Some of it's happened to sink in while being on Nautilus.
That is true. No, actually, apparently they are not single cell.
No. That's what
So what made you think to ask about tardigrades? Valeria.
I think she's enthralled in the pictures currently.
Valeria.
Oh, sorry, what?
What made
I'm sorry.
what made you ask about tardigrades?
Rebecca's dad.
He said something about them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He knows I like them. It's on my to-do list to find one in my yard and keep it as a pet.
Oh, do you have a microscope powerful enough to identify?
Yeah, you just need like a low-powered stereo microscope. They're like just slightly less than 1 millimeter in length.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so they're bigger than the micron scale from earlier. So
Oh, I could see something that's a millimeter in size.
it's like yeah, just like the markings on a ruler. So
Yeah, I could find one without a microscope. I'd just get my geologist loop out.
yeah, that could work.
So we have a follower that is mentioning that according to Miller, a few researchers believe that some species of tardigrades might even be able to survive this desiccation for up to a century. But the average lifespan would be rarely longer than a few months.
Really? Huh.
That's what our follower says. We need to double check.
Cool. Yeah, I know I've heard of them looking into like old museum collections and then finding these tardigrades in this animated state and trying to revive them. So I think that's how they're starting to get an idea of exactly how long these things can survive.
Why is it called an animated state? Is it because it sounds like they're
yeah.
inactive?
Yeah, no, I guess like a de-animated state would be. There's a couple different terms for. I don't want to call it a what do bears do? Hibernation
Hibernate.
state? It's
Yeah.
not that. But there's a couple different names for it.
Yeah. I was just doing a project with these frogs that when they freeze and like water inside of them freezes over the winter and their heart stops completely and their blood stops flowing and then when they thaw out they just come back to life.
That's
essentially.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a different type of hibernation. It's like Han Solo carbonite freeze.
Did you just mention Han Solo?
Yes.
This is great. I love this watch. And we have Moya. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. This follower is saying that in Star Trek Discovery, they mentioned tardigrades, or it's all about
Oh yeah,
tardigrades.
yeah,
in the
yeah.
first
They have
few
tardigrades
episodes.
in Star Trek Discovery. That's right. Yeah, they do. But they're big.
I do believe you pronounced that correctly.
I haven't gotten to see season 2 because I haven't signed up for CBS All Access or whatever. So I've only seen season 1.
Is that pattern that we're seeing a normal pattern for rocks?
Yeah, the ship's
Oh,
turning, so
yeah.
we're doing some weird stuff.
That's just multiple pings on like the same rock because we're turning.
Oh.
We've seen that on most of the turns.
Yeah, you're right. Oh God, I am reading about the tardigrades, and apparently you can find them everywhere, from mountaintops to the deep sea and mud volcanoes, from tropical rainforest to the Antarctic. So, wow,
So they don't just live on moss?
not really.
Well, I've been
Or
just to
maybe.
know what they mean by found. Like, did they find these tardigrades like actively living, or like were they in the cryptobiosis state?
Cryptobiosis,
Yep.
ooh, that's a fun term.
Mm-hmm. And this is great.
But I mean, there is moss sometimes in the Antarctic, right?
I don't know. I haven't been there.
Curious about the deep sea, though. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Do they respire? Like, do they breathe?
Let me check about
Do they have tiny little lungs?
They seem more like they'd be absorbed through the skin,
Yeah.
kind of a.
Like an insect.
Yeah.
Wow, this is so great. Apparently, the group includes fossils dating from 530 million years ago in the Cambrian period.
I have complete empathy for what regular people think when we talk about shipwrecks right now. Or nerd out with ship construction. They're just,
Yeah.
yeah, that's nice.
That's nice, crazy
Yep.
lady.
Gas exchange happens across the entire body.
Mm.
No lungs.
We have a joke from your dad,
Oh,
Rebecca,
All right.
about the water bear.
Okay.
So what happened when the water bear was late for school?
He was tardy.
Something like that. the, prin- the principal gave him a tardigrade. Oh my God, I love this shift.
Tardy
Thanks,
grade.
I should have recorded the reaction back here of that one.
That's funny.
He
I
can
like
hear the reaction.
Well,
There's a camera
So-
back there, isn't
Oh,
there?
with
that.
the
It's
camera.
not streaming though.
Oh.
when Valeria said something like that, I thought she was gonna stop and be like, "Yeah, that was close to the answer," and then just move on.
So apparently they are 0.5 millimeters or 0.02 inches long when they are fully grown.
Oh, so not babies. Got it.
Mm-hmm. And they do have
do
claws.
do they lay eggs?
Yes.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You knew that instantly. Cool.
Do they have a digestive tract? Do they have a, do they eat? Or do they just absorb through their skin?
They have like a
respirate?
mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
have a
eat
little
like
mouth.
algae, plant cells, and some of them are cannibalistic and will eat smaller tardigrades.
Ew.
Oh wow.
Yes.
I mean, cool.
Life.
Hashtag life.
Bridge down.
Hashtag.
Has anyone filmed them like
Request
eating?
a 50-meter step.
I think
bearing
so.
There's
080.
videos
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
I also found out recently that there are fireflies that will eat other species of fireflies.
Oh, they're trying to absorb the other light.
Yeah, that might be part of it actually, because there's a certain chemical that they use to create that light.
Yeah, fireflies can like psych each other out. There'll be females that like flash a pattern to attract a male, but then they know that.
Oh, really?
So then they'll flash like the opposite species pattern. So when the male comes, they'll then of the wrong species, then they'll eat them.
Yep.
Wow.
That's awful.
Well,
I
it's
think
like
that's
What a roller coaster of emotion.
That's
well, it's
entrapment.
Not as
Yeah.
bad as the spider that the female, well, the male and the female mate, and then the female eats the male.
Some of the octopuses, don't they do
That's
that?
Yeah, there's quite a few
yeah.
species that do that.
Yeah, praying mantis rips the head off of the male.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the gulper eel, the male attaches to the female body and then kind of fuses with her,
Yeah.
and then is there just to.
Oh, similar to a lot of anglerfish.
Yeah, those things just like
They
shrivel.
become
Oh
a-
wait, no, that's what I meant. Yes, totally,
Oh,
totally
yeah.
anglerfish. Thank you.
Yeah, become a parasite on their body, basically.
Mhm.
Gross.
You can have like multiple males attached to one female.
Uh,
Maybe we'll see one of those.
no.
We saw some anglerfish. I don't think we saw any males just hanging off, but we saw some anglerfish on the
They look
past
so.
couple days.
They look so unhappy. Those anglerfish.
They look
that we
very
saw.
grumpy. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a video put out recently that was absolutely gorgeous though. It was an anglerfish, but it had all these tentacles sticking out from it like in all 3 dimensions. And as they think they're using these as like feelers for the water, but it was kind of interesting because usually they see these anglerfish when they come up in nets and all these have been broken off, but to see the natural habitat and like swimming around,
Yeah.
it was really pretty.
Huh.
Yeah, well, it's like the blobfish won
Oh yeah.
like the ugliest fish or animal. I don't know what it was. It was like some.
Animal.
It was ugliest animal. But in the water, it actually looks kind of normal. It's just that it has such little skeletons, such little support. It relies on the water for all of its support. So when you take it out of the water, it just turns into that blob. But in the water, it holds shape.
That's unfair.
Well, that'd probably be true of these sea cucumbers we're seeing. They'd just be little blobs on if we pick them out of the water.
Oh yeah. Bridge now. One more step, please. Thank you.
What's your favorite insect?
Hello.
Do you have favorite insects?
I think it's a firefly right now, just because I was hanging out with them recently.
They're pretty cool.
That's a hard one. Maybe bees.
Yeah.
Bees are very important.
They
Oh,
are.
what are the ones that that like build their home? They like build bagworms.
What?
A bagworm. It like it's like an insect that builds a shell almost like a hermit, like, and then it carries around the shell like a hermit crab. But they build these. They roll. Sometimes they roll up leaves and they use that as like
Oh,
a
yeah.
thing. Or they take little twigs and they stack them and use like a mucus to glue them together. It's amazing.
Yeah. I've seen those in the Amazon
Really?
rainforest.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool. I don't know the
They're
name
amazing.
though. They're pretty cool.
Bridge now. Request
I like
we
ants,
track
too.
a line, the selected line bearing 080 at 1 knot. Thank you.
Just not our prettiest turn, but it worked.
Well, it was difficult with USBL. I started agreeing in the end. It's a good curve.
Yeah, it's got a nice arc.
It's a good curve. You can kind of fill in the blanks there.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure Argus was behind us.
Yep. It's good now, but
Yeah.
USBL really just took a break.
Oh God, yeah, we're about to switch our shift. So, in a couple of minutes, we're gonna say goodbye to you that are following us. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you in 8 hours if you're there. And we're gonna be hearing some chatting here in the van, and here Maddie comes to be in charge of the communications. So I'll see you in 8 hours. Have fun and enjoy following us. Bye-bye.
You sound good to me.
What's up, everyone?
Hey.
Hanging out.
Hanging out.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening.
And welcome.
Is it evening?
I think so.
Somewhere.
What is 8 o'clock? Is that nighttime? Is that good night?
Yeah, I think it's evening.
Oh, I've
Yeah,
just
that's-
been taken to saying good morning to everybody.
Just like by default, it's morning
It's usually
everywhere.
someone's morning,
Yeah,
yeah.
somebody's waking up,
Eh,
or
that's
I'm
fair.
waking up.
That's a good point. Okay, every time I come back after that 4 to 8 shift, there's like this long host of jokes going on.
Yeah, it's Rebecca's dad.
Any good ones?
All right, let's see. What happened when the water bear was late for school?
The water bear?
Yeah, water bear. You know, like a tardigrade? Tardigrade? Tardigrade?
Tardigrade. We
You can
just-
join the club of having no idea what
What?
the last half an hour was just
I knew what
about.
a tardigrade is, but I think you just gave the punchline away.
Yep.
Wait. Oh, man.
I don't get it. What's
I don't get it.
Start again.
Okay. Erase the last 30 seconds of the conversation.
Okay, erased.
Erased. Cool. Starting over. What happened when the water bear was late for school?
What happened?
The principal gave him a tardigrade.
Oh.
In my attempt to pronounce it, that was the punchline. Wow.
So I just learned what they were, and they're
Water
very
bears?
small animals that are like half a millimeter in size at full length. They have 6 legs. They respirate through their skin or their tissue. They have mouths. They have claws, and people think they're very cute. And they've been animated in shows like Family Guy and the movie Ant-Man.
Dude, they survive in space.
They can survive in space.
They're awesome.
I
Tardigrades?
can't believe you've never heard of one. They're the cutest little microscopic things ever.
And there's sea bears?
Water bear.
Water
Water
bear.
bear.
Oh, I know these.
They like live in parking lot puddles and all, like, isn't that where the most well-known one is from?
I didn't know there was a well-known one.
I might have said the well-known water bear.
I'm still
And
not
we heard
quite-
they live on moss.
I'm not quite tracking on the water bear part.
That's their common name.
Why?
Because they look
They're
like
in wa-
bears.
They
and I
look
think
like
they
a
live
bear.
in water.
And they look like bears.
Maybe.
They live in water and they look like bears. Got it. Okay,
And
I'm
they're see-through too. So
They're seafood?
see-through.
Are they?
See-through. Oh.
Yeah, some of them are. There's
As
this
bears are.
great
So does it look more like a gummy bear than an actual bear?
honestly it kind of looks like a little pig to me. Like a water pig.
They actually have their own phylum.
Oh.
Wow.
You got it up on
Yep.
science computer?
Yeah. Data.
I don't know if we have
Capture.
There's one.
that. Capture.
Capture. You got cap.
Cap. Tardigrade. Oh, wow. Look at that. That does look like a bear.
It's a bear if I ever seen one.
It also looks like that photo was taken with a scanning electron microscope.
It
Yeah, they
probably
almost all
was.
Really?
Yeah, they're tiny.
I thought they were 1/2 millimeter. You can get a 1/2 millimeter with a, oh, no. Microscope. Anyway, neat.
They can also live 30 years at minus 20 degrees Celsius.
Hey.
So you got more jokes up there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, do we want to repeat the same ones? I feel like we can get some.
You can do science question and joke. Science question joke.
Science question joke? All right, 1 second.
Why is that up there? PC4 has changed. Huh.
Oh, yep. What do you want it? What was it as?
Was it DP? I don't know that I care.
I just want. Yeah. Let me set it back.
This is. You know what? This is okay. Oh, that's okay too. It's all good.
I just wanted to read what was highlighted over there, and I chose that. Didn't realize it was being sent.
I don't think it's sent home. It's just sent to me. It's also no longer highlighted.
I know, but I found it. That was funny.
Yeah, it's good.
Because I think if I take a computer onto mine, then it's like control only. So I turn it into a KVM and then put it anyway.
Right.
Yeah. Or a PC rather.
All right, the internet's science joke forum is pretty hilarious.
Do you mean the Nautilus Live comments?
There's some pretty great ones on there too. Let's see. What did the geologist say when his doctor asked him if he was ready for his colonic? No fracking way. Thank you.
We were talking on our watch about if you just put espresso beans, like if you just, are they just as tasty without the chocolate? Like could you put a piece of chocolate in your mouth? Could you put a piece of chocolate in your mouth with an espresso bean and like have the same great treat? Or do they like do something else to the espresso beans before they go in the chocolate?
I think your ratios would be off.
If you, I mean, if you
mix them in your mouth instead of on the bean.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, half your mouth is going to just be coffee grounds,
like
and the other half's going to be chocolate.
Like, have you ever like just ate one espresso bean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it have the same texture as it does inside the like?
Yeah, same texture. Yep.
Yeah, because I always imagined it was like harder, but I guess it's not that hard.
Not so hard.
Do you get actual caffeine from eating espresso beans?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's why we've been eating them.
That's why we're eating them.
I thought it was just a tasty snack.
It's like coffee, but you don't need to have a bio break.
Yeah, you know.
There's the SBL friendly way to say that.
Oh, here he is.
Oh man, I way overestimated that. I said 835. Good effort, though. Your turn?
Sure.
Frog's coming up.
Look at that. There it is. Looking in the sonar, too. Oh, man.
Is that just a big rock?
Could be anything.
In the camera.
The rock on the sonar is going to be 50 meters to starboard, 40 meters to starboard. Let's see what the side scan tells us. Yeah. Waiting with bated breath here. Look at this. What's that, Miles? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's coming in 40 to 50 meters to starboard.
Look at that thing.
Well, for those of you just joining us, this is Expedition Vessel Nautilus, and we are the 8 to 12 watch here to provide you with experimental recipes and advice on how to stay awake and work until midnight. And at the same time, we are off the coast, northwest coast of Tutuila Island, American Samoa, searching for the wreckage of the Samoan Clipper, a Pan American Airways Sikorsky S-42B flying boat that was lost in an accident on January 11th, 1938.
That was a great introduction, Russ.
Thank you, thank you.
It had a smooth jazz radio vibe to it.
Yeah, now I have my audition tape. For
Yeah, exactly.
all the stations, all the easy listening stations back home.
So we're just wrapping up the last line in the southern area?
Yes.
Cool.
So yeah, we'll continue this run, which will complete the southern edge of the initial survey area we outlined. And once that's complete, the plan is we will move north. There's still a few lines remaining in the northern section of our initial survey, and we'll take that opportunity to overrun some of the more interesting targets we marked during that earlier survey, and we'll get the sense of you know, by studying them through the Argus camera, we'll be able to relate what we're seeing on the bottom to what shows up in the data stream in the waterfall from the sonar. and we'll have a better sense of, how to interpret what we're seeing in the computer imagery as opposed to what is, truly there on the seabed.
And someone asked, why is the right so different from the left here? And I'm assuming they mean on that side scan sonar, and that's because we're looking at two different halves of the ocean floor, right? On either side of Argus.
Well, yeah, the Argus is is deployed with a side scan sonar. So as the name implies, the sound signals are being broadcast to the sides, on an angle, and reflected back and interpreted by the computer, and rendered as shapes and shadows. But the sonar does not go directly down underneath the vehicle. So the black in the center is the nadir, the kind of the null area between the two, and so you're seeing to port and starboard of the vehicle, and sometimes we're just passing an area that just happens to have more relief and more rocks and topography than the other side. So sometimes one side is markedly different from the other, and sometimes they match up. Like if there's just flat, smooth bottom, you'll just see the kind of the brownish, sort of sandpapery, texture going by, and then the bright yellow spots are objects, usually geology, some kind of rocks or something that are standing up, reflecting more strongly the signal back, and then the black, other than directly in the center, the black is kind of a shadow where the sound waves are not reaching, and it creates like a sonic shadow. That is usually very helpful to show if something is protruding above the seabed. You'll tend to get that shadow if it's resting flat, against the floor of the ocean. Then you just tend to get the bright yellow spot. And from what Mike was telling me earlier, that if you see the shadow in front, or towards the middle, from the yellow spot, then that's actually a depression. If the black and the shadow is to the outside, then that's something sticking up above the ocean floor. And if there's separation between the two, then it's something that's actually suspended in the water column. So it's like a big fish or something that's swimming by. So yeah, there you go. Dee Dee, was that right?
Excellent. I don't have to say it anymore.
Woo. How many points have we marked all together so far?
Our target total is 48.
Cool. So 4 more since we were here 8 hours ago.
And this will be, I believe, the 14th line, if my math is right. So we have 6 more to do up in the northern area after this.
So I think it was on the other watch, 4 to 8, but I realized that the date that the clipper went down was 111, and this is expedition NA111.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oh, whoa. Yeah, that's a good point.
Total coincidence too. It just happens to be the 111th voyage of the Nautilus since it began its career with Ocean Exploration Trust, and that's just how it happened to fall in the way that the field season laid out. So pretty cool coincidence, though. I think it was meant to be.
Yeah, a long time and a lot of work in the making, but here we are, huh?
Yes, that is a understatement for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been 5 years, 5 years of dreaming and planning to get to this point, to be here, in this spot with this technology and this crew, and running this search.
Does it feel real to you to be here? I mean, is it a little bit of a surreal experience?
I think it was more surreal when we first arrived. To walk up to the ship at the dock in Pongo Pongo and to look around and to be in the harbor there and recognize all the landmarks that are so familiar from the story of Samoan Clipper, and then suddenly, I mean, it's not really sudden, but it felt like it, that Nautilus was just there by magic. That here it was, and having imagined, the chance to bring it there, and then there she was, and you could stand on the bow and look, and see it was pointed directly at the ridge line where the Clipper would approach for landing in the harbor there. Was somewhat surreal, but sitting in here and feeling the motion of the ship and watching the monitors and everything, it's about as real as it gets. And stepping outside, and you can see the you can look and see the ocean and see the island is very close, and totally recognizable. You can see all the landmarks and see Tapu Tapu Point, the westernmost tip of the island, and that is referenced time and again in the historical record as people are communicating, where all of this happened, and so it's yeah, it's pretty real. I don't know, it might get a little surreal again, if we actually are able to view Samoan Clipper itself through the cameras on Argus and hopefully on Hercules as well.
This isn't your first expedition either. I mean, you've been out on other ones, and you've done similar work with mapping and sort of scoping out and coming back and returning. How does this compare to those other expeditions?
Yeah, this is the first time where it's purely a search, where we are going into the unknown and trying to bring back the answers. A lot of times on the previous work I've done, we've had the advantage of others having done the work of making the discovery, and that we can follow on and do the work of finalizing or identifying or documenting what had come before. So yeah, and even I was present with the University of Hawaii, their manned submersible program, the Hawaii Undersea Research Laboratory, when we made 2 new discoveries. But even in that case, they had gotten sonar imagery of targets that looked promising to be shipwrecks, and we did indeed verify that they were LSTs, landing ship tanks, that had been scuttled after World War II. And I also was there on Nautilus when we got the first images of the sunken USS Independence, a World War II era light carrier that was sunk off the coast of Northern California deliberately in post-war. which was quite exciting. But NOAA had imaged a wreck in the right location that seemed to be the right length, with just a hull-mounted multi-beam that didn't give a lot of detail, but gave a basic scale that seemed right, and then had followed up a few years later with the help of Boeing to deploy a developing AUV called Echo Ranger. AUV is autonomous underwater vehicle, and so it's essentially a robot submarine that they found they wanted to test it, and they wanted to try to see if they could operate without a mothership. So they deployed it by just bringing it to a kind of a commercial marina and dropping it in next to the yachts and pleasure boats and sailboats, and towed it out with just a coastal survey vessel, the Fulmar, and released it, and it swam on its own 30 miles offshore, dove down several thousand feet, overflew the target, and came back, and they processed the sonar, and there was a perfect image of a World War II era, Independence class light carrier with all the damage present from the testing that had been done on it after the war. So it was clearly, very definitely that location was going to be Independence, but nobody had actually seen, had laid eyes on it. We just had the sonar imagery. So so it was still a thrill to be there and to see it for the first time. And we came up on the stern, and you could still read the name Independence in raised letters across the back of the ship. But yeah, so and I was able, actually one other time, with NOAA, Office of National Marine Sanctuaries, they were